Hi there, Sandy here. Welcome to another jewelry making video at keepsakecrafts.net. Today I have for you a really pretty bracelet that you can make using any beads you like, but I'm going to be focusing on using Czech fire polish beads that I get in my monthly bead boxes. So if you've been watching my channel for any time now, you may have noticed that over the past few months I have been receiving fire polish beads as a monthly subscription from the Dollar Bead Bag inbox. And I thought it would be fun to show you a project that you can do with these. I've actually found uses for a lot of my strands, but they come like this and it's a fun subscription. I'll give you a link to my blog post where you can learn more about it. And it's just so much fun to get beads in the mail every month. When you get your beads, they come with a list telling you what they are, and this is what I do. I cut out the names and then just tape them to the strands or keep them with the beads that I've made loose in with them, and that way I know what they are. So my bracelet design started with this. It's just a copper tube slide clasp, and if you want to know more about these, I've done a Friday Findings video on them. They're magnetic, so there's a magnet up here that this pops into, and then you can put 5 strands, or you could actually put more or less. You could put more than one on each loop, or you could skip loops, but I think I'm going to do a 5-strand bracelet today. So I pulled out a bunch of beads that I thought would look nice. And I kind of had in mind to do similar colors that I did for a recent pair of earrings. I called them the Gypsy Boho earrings with these blue turquoise chips. Definitely going to use these. Opaque red vintage bronze luster. I just love the kind of red orangey look. And then I pulled out a few others. I think these are maybe a little too purpley for what I have in mind. I also have these. These are crystals. These are faceted glass and tangerine, but I think maybe they're a little pale for what I have in mind. These are actually some pretty inexpensive beads that you can buy by the hank at your craft store. I kind of like those. Those are kind of pretty. Let's see, this is called Crystal Light Beige Luster. It's kind of a gold. That'll look good with the copper and the red. I do have these kind of purpley black. I'm not sure I love that, so I don't think so. It looks like the warm colors are winning here. Or should I do a green? Let's see. Should I do this dark red? Yeah, I think I'll do the green because it kind of gives another cool with the blue, and I've got the red and the orange and the gold. So let me show you how easy it is to assemble a bracelet of this sort. Once you have your beads and your clasp chosen, you'll need some crimps, some wire protectors, crimp covers are nice, and some bead stringing wire. I'm going to cut for myself 7 1/4 inches, which is my usual size for a bracelet, and I'm going to cut about another 3 inches, so I'll cut a little over 10 inches. So the first thing to do is slide on a crimp and then slide on your wire protector. This little horseshoe shaped piece will protect your wire, like it's called, and also finish the ends of the wire. Since I'm doing copper findings here, this gold wire will hardly show through the copper wire protector, and it just keeps the wire from abrading. You go in through one end and out through the other, that little horseshoe shape. And then I'm going to take my clasp. Now that short end of the wire needs to go through the crimp as well. And I'm going to shorten that tail just a little by pulling on the longer end. You can use crimping oh, it's magnetic. Ah, the joys of magnetic tools. Ha. Magnets are great, except for when they're not. I'm going to use my one-step crimper if it'll let me. Here we go. To crimp this, you could also just use crimping pliers or even just a pair of flat nose pliers. Always test, give it a good tug to make sure that that crimp is secure. And trim off that excess wire. What I do use crimping pliers for is to pick up crimp covers, because they fit right in those little curved spaces perfectly. Now I can just slide that over that flattened crimp, squeeze gently until it's closed. If I have this right in the center, then Between all the findings, that will be about an inch. Well, that will be taken up with the findings and the clasp. So I'll need around 6¼ 6½ inches of beads. I think I'll put these pretty red ones in the middle. Oh, and by the way, I also pulled out a few little copper beads and spacers. I thought they would be nice fillers. I'm not sure if I have a full 6½ inches of all of my beads. So I thought I would just sprinkle some of these randomly in with my beads. So here I've gone ahead and strung on all of my red beads, and I really like the look of these copper beads spaced in there. When I do that to all of the strands, that will just help tie everything together nicely. Now I've got about 6½ inches of beads on here, so I want to see if this will fit. And I'm going to slide that end of wire through the other loop. That's why I left the clasp together instead of pulling the pieces apart. And now test. And as I'm looking at how much space the wire protector and crimp take up on the other side, I think this will be a good size. This is a little snug now, but once I add those other beads, I think it'll be good. So I'll carefully undo this and finish this end by sliding on a crimp and a wire protector. I hope that you found my videos inspiring and helpful and encouraging. I've gotten so many kind comments from all of you that you've learned a lot, and I think that's fantastic. That's my mission, is to inspire and encourage you. And if I've done that, I hope you might consider, if you're able to, becoming a patron. I know not everybody can do it. It's not for everyone. But if you're able to, you will not only get the satisfaction of knowing that you're keeping these tutorials coming for everybody, but you also get great rewards. You get a chance to win some of my jewelry and creative pieces. Once every quarter I have a drawing. Throughout the months I have bonus tutorials, sneak peeks, behind the scenes, bonus templates, just all the little extras that I can think of to give to my patrons. So we're starting in the center to help us keep everything straight so that things don't get twisted, and I'll show you what I mean in a moment. So now we're just going to finish up by sliding that wire back through the crimp. Pull it up just snug and then back it off about 1/8 inch. This leaves room for the crimp cover and also for the beads to flow nicely. Go ahead and crimp. Test. It's much easier to test and see if it's not holding now than have it come apart after you've trimmed the wire. I've done that. It's a pain. And then put on the crimp cover just the same. And then repeat for all of your strands of beads. Now if you find that 5 strands maybe doesn't look full enough for you, if you really want more is more, then you can put more than 1 strand on a loop. You could probably, if you skip the wire protectors, you could probably put 2 or 3 on each of these loops. Now the reason that I've left this together is because it's very easy to twist it and get them when you put your subsequent strands on. Of course the center one's easy, but when you put the other ones on, you don't want to put the one that you started here ending up over here. That won't work so well. So leave it together as much as you can, or even just do all of one end with it open and then close it up and finish it with the other end. So here I am. I just finished adding the last strand, and I wanted to point out a few things to you about sizing this style of bracelet. First of all, you really should check your size once you finish crimping the second end of the first strand. Try on the bracelet, make sure it fits. And actually you should check the sizing after every strand. There's something about stringing this type of bracelet. It's very easy for subsequent strands to get shorter and shorter, and if you don't check them, you may end up finding yourself with a bracelet that is too small. The bracelet's going to be the size of the smallest strand. So what I mean is, once you add your second end, so here's the first end all finished with the crimp cover and the wire trimmed, the beads are strung, and then I've added the second crimp the second wire protector and crimped it, and now would be the time to try it on and make sure that it fits. Because if it doesn't, if you've made your strand too short, you can actually go in with your flush cutters and very carefully nibble away at that crimp without cutting through any of the wire. And then you'll be able to pull it down and make it a little bit longer without redoing and restringing everything. Now, if you're interested in the supplies I used, you should always click on the little eye in the upper right of the video or the link in the description box to go to my blog post, where I always have a complete supply list with links to products. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and take a peek at my Patreon page for how you can get great rewards and help support these tutorials. Happy creating. Bye-bye.